Good morning, everybody. Hey, everybody. I didn't mean to come out that enthusiastic, but here I am this morning. Wendy Chadwick, good morning, and Jeremy, Jan Akins, welcome to you. Mike and Joe Stromberg, welcome everybody on this cold morning. Boy, yesterday I had this mist about, everything was wet. This morning it's like, bluebird sky and frozen everywhere. Sally Crocker, welcome. And I know it's all relative. I mean, I have family in Texas and Oklahoma right now that are experiencing what real cold feels like that they're not accustomed to. They're dealing with power outages, so I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, I'm just observing the weather, okay? Enjoying the cold morning. Janisa Bush, good morning. Dana Kreshak, welcome. Mike and Kim, welcome this morning. I feel like, I don't know if I think it might just be out here in the cold that I always I'm rubbing my hands when I start this, but I noticed the other morning, I rewatched the video on Monday, I was inside and I was still rubbing my hands together, so I don't know if it's just a tick or something, I don't know. Barbara Richardson, welcome this morning. Lori Agassi, good morning. But yeah, this morning my hands are cold, so I gotta rub them together. Daryl and Suzanne, good morning. Letitia Sexton, welcome. Good morning. It is Wednesday morning. This is Ash Wednesday. So if those of you who are observing Lent, this is something we are introducing that idea and welcoming people to participate in that at Grace this year. We don't normally do that, but I don't know if today's the day you're starting whatever it is that you're kind of giving up for the next 40-day period until Easter. I just welcome you to do that if you haven't considered it, to consider that. Steve and Andrea Hounser, welcome. And Martha and I, we've been talking, we've pretty much narrowed it down what we're going to do, and but we haven't locked it in, so we're going to lock it in today, I think. Carmen Lego, good morning. Jim and Kathy Fuente, welcome to you. So this morning, I was in the Psalms, but also just meditating on the last couple of days. So I decided this morning I would just kind of give a testimonial instead of speak out of the Psalms, and I'm hoping that this is helpful. It's always my goal, but also this is kind of a reflection of my own morning time, so there's some personal things that get in there too. So there's a scripture verse that I'm memorizing currently from 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 8, and has to do with God's grace. In the context, Paul is encouraging the Corinthians to follow through with their commitment to give to the poor that they had promised earlier, and he's using examples of not the Philippians, but the church in Achaia that Philippi was in. Man, look what they've done. They've given beyond what we all would expect because they don't have a lot of money, and wow, they're so generous. And then in the context, he talks about grace. When you're generous, when you're giving of yourself, and in that case, material goods, but you'll see in the context of this verse, it really applies to everything. That God is able to make all grace abound. I love that phraseology, and it just gets better. And this is why I'm memorizing it, obviously, is God is able to make all grace abound. Grace in the context is your ability to give to someone else. God has given you grace so that you can in turn, exercise that grace to someone else. God is able to make all grace abound to you so that having all sufficiency at all times in every way, you may abound in every good work. I love that. How many times do we say all and every in that verse? It means it's like there's no limits. God is able to make all grace abound to you so that having all sufficiency at all times in every way, you may abound in every good work. Everything you put your mind to do and for the sake of God, God gives you all the grace you need, all the sufficiency, all times, in every way. There's just no limits to it. So I love that. The verse in and of itself is just a happy verse to say, and to experience the reality of it. But I want to give you just kind of a testimonial over the last couple of days of my life, for you to see in real time how I've applied it. And so Monday, if you recall my devotion, I woke up, I was emotionally low. We were in Psalm 42, and I was saying it's okay to be in this spot of the void and the limits, and God's there too, and I'm learning to do that in a healthy way. And that day went just like a Monday, but what I didn't realize is in that late afternoon, God would call upon me to be an emotional support to someone in a very meaningful but intense way for about 5 hours, and just being, kind of like all faculties forward, mental, emotional, spiritual faculties, everything just kind of attentive and focused, and to be a really strong emotional support to someone I love, and that lasted all up to like almost 10 o'clock at night that night, Monday night. Tuesday morning I'm up, I'm doing the devotion. Tuesdays are my meeting day, so I'm meeting with people. I'm trying to get a bunch of administrative things done, and my schedule seems compressed, and things going on that I always seem to have more things to do than I have time to do them. I'm sure many of you can relate to that. And I decided, I don't have time to eat lunch, so I'm gonna skip lunch. And the afternoon's wearing on, and I'm still working with the events of the day before, and people, and being emotionally available for and a support. And I had that afternoon a meeting that was very difficult and emotionally taxing, and again with people that you love that are going through very difficult things, and you want to be there for them, but it really stretches you. And so I missed lunch, I missed dinner, and then I get home just in time to leave again for worship team rehearsal last night. It's just like dark to dark, you're just going and you're running and you're giving emotionally. I'm not saying that for kudos. I'm not saying this in any way of complaining at all. I'm just giving you a picture of the last couple of days. And in the midst of that, and you can't say, last night I'm like, oh yeah, I wish I didn't have to go to worship team rehearsal, right? I'm done. I'm spent for the day. But people are depending on you. They've created space in their time, their night to be there, and you can't just bail. So you got to go, and you got to be present. And so that's kind of the big picture. And so a couple of points in the day, I'm feeling emotionally low. I really wanted to reach out to a couple of people for emotional support for myself. And I didn't have a lot of time in the day to do any kind of self-care because my day was so full. And so I found myself yesterday afternoon especially going, okay, God, excuse me, I need help here. I need grace. I need more than what my faculties currently have. And I need your grace to abound. And so this verse came to mind because I'm memorizing it. And so I just meditated on it. I recited it several times in my mind and just say, okay, God, this is it. I need your grace to abound, and I just have to keep moving forward and trust you that you're going to supply everything I need. You're going to give me all sufficiency for at all times and every way for every good deed, that I might abound in every good deed. So I trust you. I'm just going to keep moving forward. I don't have the couple of people that I really wanted to reach out to were unavailable. I didn't have a sense of emotional support, so I had to go to God. God, you're it. You're my bottom line. I need you to do the things that you have called me to do, the opportunities you've put before me, and the ministry you've called me to, with the people that I love, that I really want to be available to. I'm running dry here. I need I need my tank filled up a little bit because I want to give more, and my life right now is demanding that, and so I moved forward in just trusting God that was going to supply that. So here, let me give you two examples of how I believe God really moved forward on my behalf with the grace that I needed to abound in the work that He's called me to. So I had a walk-in meeting yesterday afternoon. I'm dealing with this. I'm praying about it. God, give me grace. I need some help here. I need some emotional support. So Keith Kerr, he's there doing sound stuff, and he's like, "Hey, can I talk to you?" I'm like, "Sure." And we sit down and we're talking about sound stuff, and with Keith, we often talk more than just sound. I appreciate his heart and so on, and we're just talking, and he didn't know anything about my situation and where I was at, but he offered a couple of statements to me in the midst of our conversation that were very affirming, and right at the end of our conversation, and I had expressed a little bit, just I was kind of in a needy spot, and without going into any details with him, and he just said, "Hey," and he gave me a couple of affirming statements that he had not really, that at least I don't remember him ever saying to me before, and so it really meant a lot to me. I told him that. I said, "Wow, that really means a lot to me. Thank you." And he had no idea that I really needed to hear. It really kind of put a little bit of emotional gas in my tank. I needed it, and so I feel like, okay, God, thank you for that. That was really meaningful. And then my evening, as it went on, I thought I saw the Lord in that, though it was painful and difficult and emotionally demanding. As I continued to be emotional support throughout the evening, and then I get to worship team rehearsal last night. And here's the second thing that I think God did. I just was not wanting to be there, but I also wanted to be present for everybody who was there. And God just put the right people in place that night to the worship team and so on. It was like people were in rare form last night. Mark Fine, who is on the worship team with us, his sense of humor. I've said this before, the Fines and the Tuckers, if they like you, you'll know it because they like to make fun of you. They like to tease each other, and they like to tease me, and Mark just makes me laugh. He was honestly actually mocking me at times, and he was just making me laugh, and I enjoy his sense of humor. So God knew that. God knew that I needed an evening where I just need a little bit more emotional energy coming back to me. And so I just appreciate that. And so all that to say, that's my testimonial of how powerful grace is, and that God is real. God knows exactly where we're at, what we need, and if we're willing to trust Him, we're willing to just expend ourselves on behalf, expend all the grace that we have, right? I'm expending all the grace on behalf of what God has called me to do, trusting that God is going to be that endless supply back to me. Okay, God, I'm pouring out the last bit of grace I have right now. I need a little bit more emotional investment in my own tank. And God is so good. He just gives it at the right time. And I didn't realize how that would look, but I just quoted this verse to myself several times and said, God, I trust you. I don't see where it's going to come from, but I trust you that your grace will abound to me so that I will have all sufficiency at all times and in every way to abound in every good work that you have called me to do. And it is just true. It just is reality. That's how God works with us. He just keeps giving grace. You think you have nothing left to give, and God helps you to endure. And so I'm so grateful for that. And certainly that's ministry, that's life when we pour out on behalf of people that we love, and we're happy to do that. And thankfully, I do have regular intervals in my normal weeks where I have plenty of time for self-care. I have plenty of people who I'm not in these real deficit times, but boy, the last 2 days I was really running on zero, and I needed God's grace, and He came through in very practical ways to me. And so I just want to encourage you with that. God is real. God loves us. Grace does abound. This verse is absolutely true. Be courageous in expending your grace, because the power of grace that God is on your behalf is very real. It can feel very tangible, and we can just continue to do what God has called us to do, to abound in every good work. So trust that today. Trust that God's grace is powerfully working on your behalf. And though you may feel emotionally drained, emotionally low, maybe even spiritually low, we talked about that on Monday. Even in our spiritual low times, God is there. He is real. He is with us, and He gives us the grace we need to continue to do exactly what God has called us to do and to give us opportunity to do. We just have to be faithful and keep stepping out in faith to do those things. So be blessed today. Enjoy your day, and I will see you again tomorrow morning.